morning.
Good morning.
Come on in. It's Thursday. Hello, Destiny Riri Pool. Good morning. Hello, Dorian. Kennedy. I tried. Hey, type your name in phonetically for me, please. Priscilla. Hey, Priscilla, how are you? Long time no see in Tom Island. DTM. Daniela Roman. Come on in. Great show today. La la. Good morning, Tammy LaValle. Tammy LaValle, how are you? Robin Lynn. Chris Tomlinson, have a seat. Do not hit that green button yet, Chris Tomlinson. I'm going to ask you to do that in just a minute. And I see that your thing says, I can see that you have availability. Is that the right word? Anyway, you'll be able to hit the camera and come on in here when the time is right. How's everybody doing today? I'm just going to make some announcements and say hello to you. If you're out on the front porch, maybe you're lost. Maybe you're just meandering, but I think you're here on purpose and you're ready to come on in here and get this day started with purpose. That's what we're here and that's what we're going to do. So take your shoes off, wipe your feet off, come on in and get settled in because we have a great show for you today. That is a promise. Man, this week I told y'all last week, get ready because, tell them I said that Uncle Loren says, good morning, Garrett. Good morning to you, my friend. Thank you for that, Tammy. Mandy, Kitka, Stacy, good morning, ladies. So listen, I told you guys last week that this was the week of survivors, the week of stories of inspiration. Wow, that just chart toppers. Let's just call them chart toppers. Yesterday, we had technical difficulties in the morning, but not really because we pulled it off. And that morning one has like almost 900 views with Kelly and Kelly Guntner. And we came back for Bathrobe Moments After Dark, which we have now officially relaunched just with myself because Charles Maddox is all over the world filming movies and shows, and you know he's an award-winning director. So I decided to resurrect the show and do it right here from this page, and we kicked that off last night with the interview, a second interview with Kelly Guntner, which I think if I was awake when I looked at it this morning, it looks like it's at 2.4 thousand views already. So he's suspended today. Oh, I need to have a talk with him. Garrett is suspended from. Okay. Soon as I'm off this show, have him ready for a FaceTime call. We don't get suspended. What the? Okay. Lord Jesus, where's my church fan? I need some bringing in the sheaves. I'm trying to remind myself how much I love Jesus before I get my hands on that little boy. Okay, I'm better. So anyway, you don't got to ask me twice. Please have him ready. I'm not kidding. 5 minutes after I'm off this show, 1 hour from now, he and I are having a come to Jesus moment. Getting suspended. We don't get suspended. Anyway, Emilio Roman. Hello, everybody. Back to, stop, girl. Let me deal with this right now. I'll get to you in a minute. So today, Chris Tomlinson. I don't even know where to begin. I know where to begin. Chris Tomlinson. I'm going to just wait till I get him in here. So I can tell him face to face what he did for me and what he's continuing to do for me. Irk, how are you, my man? You guys, right now, I asked the same favor yesterday with Kelly, and you guys came through in a big, big way. And I'm asking again because I feel in my spirit Excuse me. Hello, Jeffrey William Metric. I feel in my spirit, Susan Gonzalez, that there are a lot of people out there that really need what this young man, Chris, is going to share with us today for not so obvious reasons. Let's put it that way. So, right now, before I bring him in here, while I'm bringing him in here, I'm asking each of you to, all it is just, it doesn't cost anything. It just takes a second. Invite your friends right now. Share this broadcast out right now. We're always looking for something to lock down the truth, to remind us of what we all want more than anything else in this world, and that is to be a legitimate part of something bigger than ourselves. Right now, this broadcast, Christopher Case and Angie Johnston, good morning to you. That's now. The opportunity is now. Right now, hit those buttons, hit those shares, invite your friends. Somebody needs to hear this today. I'm through sitting down here. Yes, I dance around. We have a good time. But you know what? I'm going to put that call to action out there each and every day, especially when I feel in my spirit like I do today that somebody's life can be changed in a big, big way. So Chris, my man, go ahead and hit that green button if you would. I'll get my earbuds ready. Oh, they didn't tangle themselves up while I was sleeping like they usually do. I'm going to go ahead and plug this in. David Daler, and how are you? Thank you for coming in today. If any of you are standing out there on the porch looking through the front window, I don't know why you're doing that. The door's open. Come on in. Welcome to today's installment of Bathrobe Moments. Excuse me. If any of you are here for the very first time, I'm Loren Harris. I'm your host. And Chris, I thank you for hitting the green button. One last piece of business before I get you in here, because I'm not trying to end up in front of Judge Judy because of these people. Please help me welcome to the show my administrative assistant, my CPA, my nanny for Ethel and Lucy, my kitties, Lucy McGillicuddy Ricardo. And today, still drinking this, what's it called? Ooey gooey chocolate fudge coffee. I'm serious. Is that a job for somebody at the coffee factory to sit there and come up with these goofy ass names? They do kind of smell like the name, but they don't taste like the name. Let's just keep it real, right? But it makes us buy it because I'm like, ooh, gooey chewy fudge. They get me every time. Every time. And I have not found one that I did not like. He's still sleeping. That whatever you do, let me just say this and then I'm going to get Chris in here. Do not buy warm apple cider. I don't know what made them think. It's like drinking coffee that someone poured some apple cider in. Not cute. Chris, here we go. I just had to say that. That's how bad it is. Oh, I got to get this ready. Oh, Chris, you're here. I heard your limo had some trouble parking this morning, and I apologize for that. Next time, we'll just fly you in and land you on the heliport on top of my house, and you can just come on down to Batchute. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. I need some of your trade secrets on, first of all, you're very popular. And second of all, I noticed that your fan base is comprised mainly of women.
I don't know. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all right. Oh, am I getting you in trouble?
No.
Is there someone who
you're
doesn't
good.
need to hear that?
Nope.
And
It's all good.
the girls are in school, right?
Yep, they're in
Okay.
school.
Okay. So welcome to the show. Chris, before we get in here, because I'm goofy, you've watched the show, I can get goofy. And we got some real stuff to talk about today. But I want you to know what you did and what you have continued to do for me since the moment I laid eyes on your story. I was flicking through, and you know how in retrospect, sometimes some of the greatest moments in our lives we can't remember or put our finger exactly on how they happened. And I'm like, how did I meet Chris? I don't remember. And it's anyway, it just is more proof. Hi, Nicole Randall. Hope you're feeling better. Love you, and miss your face. Kelly Gunter, Kelly G. I renamed you last night. Kelly G. Her name is Kelly G. From here on out. So anyway, Chris, when I checked into your story, of course it was just amazing, but I kept hearing a song in my head. Now I went to the movie last year, bought the soundtrack, everything. I bought the soundtrack the day I was going to the movie, Brian and I, because I wanted to play it. And then my neighbors were complaining because I played it, had it on repeat in my car, over and over and over and over and over and over. And they're like, dang. I was like, oh, well, it's my car. I can do what I want to. So anyway, but it wasn't until finding you that I looked down. I had to look the lyrics up because I kept hearing the music behind me. And I looked up the lyrics, and the lyrics opened by saying, I've paid my dues. You're going to recognize this one. Time after time. I've done my sentence, but committed no crime. And bad mistakes, I've had a few. I've had my share of sand kicked in my face, but I've come through. And I was hearing the chorus, of course, when I came across your story. But I'm going to tell you what you've done for me.
Okay.
I have gone back to your Facebook page, those pictures that I used to promote you when you were a little kid.
Mm-hmm.
You are grinning from ear to ear. And I have underestimated the power of a smile. But because of you, I will never do that again. Seriously, I am investing in my own face from here on forward because I'm going to tell you something, my man. I'm not kidding you. That song was automatically playing on turntable 1 in my AARP mind. Because, I mean, I had to ask myself, is this another senior moment? Because, you know, I'm 57 now. Those suckers are coming out of nowhere. You haven't started. You laughed because you haven't started having. Oh, I forgot to welcome Captain Kangaroo. Kangaroo's here. He's here. You haven't started having senior moments yet. But let me tell you how they start. They start. You wear glasses at all? Sunglasses?
I'm
Any kind of?
supposed to.
Okay.
I wear glasses.
Okay. Well, what's going to happen is you're going to walk around. You're going to be looking. Where are my glasses? And they'll be up here. The next thing is my most recent one was I was on a phone call talking to some producer, something about television. It was an important call. And I'm like, he could tell I was distracted. And he's like, Loren, are you okay? Do we need to reschedule? You sound like you're distracted. I said, I am, and I'm sorry. He goes, what's wrong? I said, I can't find my phone. I was talking in it. That's when I thought, I better activate my AARP card because I have definitely earned her. So anyway, that's my little story. Now, don't worry, you laugh now, but your day is coming just like everybody else. Chris, first start by introducing yourself. Tell everybody where you live. Tell us a little bit about your lovely family, and then we're going to get down into the ooey gooey juicy center of this wonderful story of yours.
All right. Obviously, you guys know I'm Chris. I'm 35. I live in Springfield, Massachusetts. I'm originally from Florida. We came up here after my accident to be closer to Shriners Hospital in Boston, so that's why I'm in Massachusetts. I have 2 daughters, Nevaeh and Trinity. Nevaeh is 13, and Trinity is 11, and they're like the light of my life. I do everything, anything for them, and yeah, that's me.
You know, your voice is so soothing and peaceful. How many times have you heard that?
A lot. A lot.
A lot. And it's rare, Chris, that I get stuck. I can talk till the cows come home. Seriously. But there's so much about you. The layers of your spirit are just amazing. So let's start. I tried to write some stuff down. Let's take people back to the beginning. What can I tell you what I was thinking last night when I was laying in bed, all excited about today?
It was like
Yeah, of
Christmas
course.
Eve for me. I was thinking about how, because I speak from the stage. I've done it over 850 times in the last 3 years, and I tell my
Mm,
story. Hi, Lynn. Of having had 22 mothers, and because I grew up in the foster system, and when I work with people in coaching, a lot of people have a hard time putting their finger on the pulse of their the core of their story, where it all began. Like yesterday, if you saw Kelly's show,
mm,
she talked about how she was being abused sexually from 6 till 11, and it started right in her house. What it felt like to be raped by a family member in the morning and have to sit across the table and eat dinner with them in the evening. So one of the exercises I have with people, because a lot of people, they think their life started at 22, they think it started at 14 or whatever,
mm,
but we go back and we remember them to the original version of themselves, the little person, that
right,
little person who, because that's when we're fearless, that's when we're not jaded, that's why that smile is on little Chris's face in every picture. He's still inside of the gauze, the
right,
wrapping, grinning
right.
like, he's ready to party till it's 1999.
That's right.
And so what I really found, what's validated for me through your story immediately, was that, well, wow, here's a guy who is taken back to that moment in his young life. Every moment he lives, he is reminded of that little 19 month old Chris
Mm,
who wandered into that shed, um,
mm,
because that was the moment life came and stole its very first kiss from the innocent you.
right.
Because you woke up one person that day, and I try to tell people to look for this every day. When you want to
Mm,
find your message, you're looking for your purpose, go back and remember that day. Remember yourself, like the pen is to this cap. Remember yourself back to that moment when life came and stole his very first kiss from the innocent version of you, because that is the moment where choice began, and that was the day you woke up one version of yourself, unknowingly, unwittingly, never to wake up that person again. So,
right.
how much of that day do you remember? And take people through the story, if you would.
Right. I actually don't remember any of it, to be
Right,
honest.
right.
So
I
I
wondered
was
about that. So you get it from people telling you.
right,
Okay,
right.
go ahead, give us that one.
I get it from my parents or either from the doctors and stuff. So what I know of is that my mother was watching me through the window, and right outside the window was a swing, like a little toddler swing or whatever you want to call it. And I was a curious kid. I'm still curious today, but
Don't lose that.
I got out of the swing, and my mother had looked down for a second. She was doing peeling potatoes, and she looked down the peel, and she looked back up, and I wasn't there. So she went to go find me, and she thought I was in. She had like this little garden area that she said I used to go and pick the flowers and stuff. So she thought I was in there. But when she went there and saw I wasn't there, she started freaking out trying to find me. And
Mm-hmm.
before she knew it, she heard the explosion and found me in the shed behind, engulfed in flames. And she was trying to pull me out and everything. And eventually she got me out and she got the fire out and everything. And like any person would do when something traumatic happening, the first thing you do is you just want to scream for help and stuff. So she's screaming for help, and the neighbors saw everything, so they called 911, and they came. I don't know how fast they came, but I'm sure they came as fast as they could. And I had to be med flighted to, I think it was Tampa General, and they had to go. My mother couldn't go in the flight with me, so she had to be transferred to the hospital and meet me there. Contact my father at work. He came, and they said I wasn't going to make it. There was no way I was going to make it. Um, my mom said that I was completely swollen, like you could barely recognize who I was.
Mm.
So the only way she could recognize who I was, obviously she knew it was her son, but she said my eyes spoke to it, and she could tell, through my eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And they told her, just be prepared. There's no way he's gonna live through the night. There's no way he's gonna. So they all just gathered around in the waiting room and just waited and waited and prayed. And um, I still remember to this day, my dad told me that they came to him and told him that they asked if they wanted to pull the plug, the life support plug on me.
Mm.
And my dad told them that he wasn't going to take his son's life. If God wanted him, God would take him. He's not going to take him. So they left me on the life support, and miraculously, I was there the next day. And they did everything they could to me to, do whatever they had to do to keep me alive. And I was in the hospital for 8 months and I had to have multiple skin grafts. I was burned 97% or more of my body with third-degree burns or more, some down to the bone.
Right.
And yeah, that's
So let me
alright.
ask you something, Chris. Why I realized, and I was going to get to this, and I was waiting to see how you were going to bring it in. When you said I was burned 97% of my body, third degree burns or more. Now, there is an actual thing called fourth degree burns. And a
Right.
lot of people, and I wondered why you just didn't say fourth degree burns, but I'm sure you have your reasons. Excuse me, my allergies. But fourth degree burns, I did a little research, as you know, I do coming on these interviews. And for those of you who aren't aware of it, fourth degree burns extend into the tendons and the bone. Now, did that happened to you?
Correct.
So that is what explains like the digits and
Correct.
whatnot, and
Right.
the shape of the arms, and I'm going by what I saw in the child pictures,
Right.
and then maybe I think some in the leg area, right?
Right.
So
Correct.
how did all of that affect? Because it takes sometimes years. You had how many surgeries between the ages of 2 and 19?
At the age of like 14, I asked my mother, and she says she lost count at 200. So I don't know how much exactly by the age of 19, but 200 by then. So
So you grew up in those literally sterile environments known as
correct.
hospitals. And for what you were there for, literally sterile. Everything has to be, because infection is the biggest thing you have to watch out for.
Oh yeah.
So many different things. And we haven't even talked about the pain that comes with it, right? Just to be able to heal. And this is something that came up yesterday during Kelly's thing. She topped the scale at almost 400 pounds, and she went through all these surgeries and this and the other, and she died on the table and blah blah blah. And I don't say blah 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 to undermine it. I'm saying that's just, when we hear their stuff, blah 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 refers to what we're bitching about, if you really want me to keep it real. I feel like when I listen to what you and people like you and Kelly have to say, I'm like, I don't have the right to complain about a damn thing, ever. But then I am sure you hear someone else's story and you go, how in the hell?
Oh yeah.
How could they have made it through? You see what I'm saying? So it's all relative, and I get that, because we were all promised that we would not be given more than we could handle.
Right.
And that's what I love about you and your story. That's what I love about your ear-to-ear 50-mile smile. That's what I was calling it yesterday. He's got a 50-mile smile. And you might want to write that down. That could be the title of a book one day. That was on the house. So anyway, let's talk about some of the things that people made that aren't so obvious. Because I know people, you get the same old questions and this and the other. So I want to start by asking you about a thing that came up yesterday. And it's not just germane to if you are, a candidate for My 600-Pound Life. It doesn't matter if you're sitting here with 97% of your body burned like Chris. It doesn't matter if all your scars, or the majority of them, are on the inside of you from a whole string of abuses like me. What it boils down to is that the healing never ends.
Right.
The scars are not always just the obvious. But the thing about it is, each of us was chosen to write a story, to tell a story, to share a story that is uniquely our own. You
Right.
know, I'm going to say this because, Chris, a lot of people, they spend their entire lives trying to prove and leave something in this world based on these fingerprints or this DNA. And never thinking that when we leave and transition, pass on, whatever you consider it to be, that we're going to take those with us. But there's
Right.
that third thing that none of us, or many of us, don't give enough credit. We don't spend enough time honoring it and making sure we get that part done before we leave here. And it is the only thing that does have a chance to stay after we're gone. After our tongues have been silenced, it will still talk and teach and preach and sing on. And I speak of
Mhm.
our stories, because
Yeah.
people will sit around and tell your stories for generations to come if you write that story, if you share that story. So I want you to tell us about when you first started realizing, because you didn't remember the accident, but you do
Hmm.
remember people looking at you. And the thing I was saying is consistent. All of us know that look,
Right.
whether it was us looking back at us that way, that look of judgment, that look of pity, that look of I can't stop looking. You know, I got a thing. I got a cousin that I met in my biological family. I met her at my mother's funeral for the first time. And she has a mole on her face the size of a dime. And I sat there trying not to look.
Hmm.
But the more I tried not to look, the more I had to look. I couldn't help
Right.
myself until I just said, okay, you know I can't stop looking at that mole, right? And she was like, I'm used to it. She goes, it's so funny to me because I watch people struggle with trying not to look at me like that. So tell us when that began, when you started understanding what this journey was going to always be for you. And then you must, something tells me you must have been deciding even then how
Hmm.
you were going to use it to help people understand something they may know have no other way of understanding. So take us, I'm gonna just let you run with it now. Just tell us what you
Okay.
feel like sharing.
Okay. Um, I guess I realized it hit the most probably in my teen years because when you're a kid, you really don't, like you said, you got like that childlike innocence and you got all these like, you just want to play and do all this stuff that like appearance doesn't really matter when you're a child really.
Right.
But like as a teenager, it hit me more because, that's when, things start changing in your mind, your body, and then like you start realizing things that you didn't realize when you were younger. Um, I know that like in school, it wasn't as bad as like a lot of people think that like I may have been bullied a lot or something like that in school, but I really wasn't. I really had a good time in school. It just there was little moments that stuck out, like still stick out now, that still kind of bothers me, but I know that it's kind of like it builds character, I guess you can say.
You do it
And
exactly. And Chris, let's crossing lady. I have a crossing guard. She's invisible. You're in my universe, just visiting, so get used to it. I see things that you all can't see. Come on in here. She walks out and says, "Time out for a second every now and then," because I want to. I knew this. I knew you were going to say that you weren't the one who experienced a lot of bullying in your opinion, but I have down here on this pad question mark kids bullied, because I believe that's where you were really introduced into how horrible bullying can be, because your
mhm.
daughters mean everything to you,
Oh yeah,
everything. And I know when they came home and they some of the things that they tell you, you wonder how can they be experiencing this and I never did, right or wrong.
right, right.
Okay, so pick that up and go from there, because that's something most people would never expect.
Yeah, like let's see, like my oldest daughter, she has a little bit of issues with. She's petite, very petite, and she gets picked on sometimes at school for that. And my youngest is more, she's more built, I guess you can say. So sometimes they like to tease each other because they're sisters, how they tease. But sometimes I have to be like, look, Nevaeh, my oldest, she's going through something right now, and you have this issue too. Like they both struggle with their images, and I'm like, these make you who you are. Don't be scared of showing who you are because when you hide yourself, you're not expressing, you're not showing the world the real you. You're just
Mm-hmm.
fitting in with everybody else, and you don't want to fit in because what's the fun in that when you just fit in because you're just another face in the crowd? You don't.
Yeah.
But if you express who you are, you stand out and you can show the world, happiness or joy or whatever. Whereas like my oldest, she's very bubbly. She's very happy spirited. She's very active. But when she's in school, she puts that all down. She shoves it all down and tries to hide it because she's afraid to step out of her shell because of people teasing her about being so petite or whatever. And my youngest, she's one of the bigger kids in school. Like she's one of the tallest kids in fifth grade. And I'm like, you can use that as advantage. You know, they can look up to you literally so
Literally,
much.
right?
And like, they see you as like, you know, like, not really like, I guess you could say the tough kid, but not in a mean way. You know, like, you can support people, you can help people and stuff like that. Like they noticed, my girls notice more when we're in public, like when people look at me. And the thing is with that is it's kind of comforting because I'm used to it, but they tend to, like, if someone stares or points or says something, they like to get right up next to me and put their arm around me or hug me or kiss my cheek or
Mm,
something like that. Or either they'll play a game with me, like they'll poke me or whatever, and I'll poke them and we'll just play around. We're big kids, pretty much. I'm a big kid,
right.
so sometimes we'll goof around and stuff. So it's kind of comforting, encouraging to know that like my kids understand that. They understand, they grasp that like people are gonna stare at their father. You know, they have to live with that with their life. And it used to bother me because I didn't want my issues to be placed on them because I
Right.
want them to be happy and live, live a life that they want. I don't want, me to be on them and have people judge them because of me. But they haven't let that hit them at all. Like they use that to their advantage. They talk to people about me. They'll like if other kids are like scared of me or whatever, because unfortunately kids do get scared of me in public sometimes. They'll use that as they'll go up to the kid and be like, "Hey, check this out," and they'll come up to me and they'll play around with me, and I'll play around with them. And like, "See, he's fun to play with. Let's play," and we'll like play a game or whatever. Or we'll just tell jokes or just laugh or whatever, and it's a good thing to do because like I don't blame kids when they look at me and when they stare because they don't know any better.
They don't know any better.
Yeah, they're not used to seeing it because it is kind of rare to see someone like me just randomly walk into your store, and then all of a sudden you look over and like, whoa, okay. So that doesn't bother me at all. So like, I love talking to kids about it because
Hmm.
I think kids and teens go through it worse than some people do. But the only thing that really bothers me is when an adult does it in a wrong way, if that makes sense. Like
It, talk about
they
that.
like yeah, they look at me like disgusted, like almost like angry.
Right. Like,
And
how dare you come out
yeah,
here and make us be forced to see this? You
yeah,
know,
exactly.
I
Exactly.
know exactly what you mean. Because let me just jump in here real quick. Because you know what? One time, I'll tell you when that made its way home for me. I was living in Phoenix, Arizona, and I was I went into a Spanish store to get some
Hmm.
stuff for a Spanish meal I was making for company. And the girl behind the counter, the checkout girl, of course, was Spanish. And there was
Yeah.
a regular, everyday Caucasian woman in front of me. And she was asking some question about something she put on the conveyor belt. And the girl was like, she said, I don't know. She goes, well, read it. It's in Spanish. She goes, I don't read Spanish. She goes,
Yeah.
how come you don't, and the way that look that she gave her in a Spanish store. Now, here's what got me was when she said, the girl said, look, I was born here.
Mhm.
My parents speak Spanish and read Spanish and write Spanish. I don't. She goes, I live in America. It's not a prerequisite. And then when the lady left, the girl looked at me and she goes, she goes, they're either angry at us because we're here in America, learn English. You see what I'm saying? It's like people
Yeah.
always see what they need to see, is my
Right.
point in all that. And that's when I started, because I was like, what the hell? And so, Chris, what about this? Oh, I got so many notes on this page. I want to ask you about the theme in your daughter's names, that they
Mhm.
both of their names speak to spiritualism,
Right.
not religious. I know a lot of people say, oh, that's heaven backwards, Nevaeh, and Trinity, the Holy Trinity. And I know they automatically go to religion, but I have a
Mhm.
feeling that for you, it represents more of a spiritual thing. So I want you to touch on that. Um, I also wonder, let's, your mom, and when your mom used to tell you the story about how it all went down,
Mhm.
did she always throw in there, did she try to take the blame?
Oh
Was it
yeah.
hard for
Oh,
her? Does she still, in some ways,
it
still
still does. Yes.
hold that and own that? And you find
Yes.
yourself having to constantly try to wish you could take that from her?
Yes.
You know, I
Yes.
knew that because of what my birth mother said to me when she opened the door to me 32 years after she trusted some people with me and they took off and she never saw me again. Um, and so I had a feeling because that thing
Mhm.
with that bond between a mother and her child is
Mhm.
really something. Talk about that if you could, and how that makes you feel. And do you think your mother will ever be able to stand back and understand uh, the true essence of purpose?
Right. Um, she. I don't know if she ever will get like. I'm sure it's been a while now, so I'm sure she probably it doesn't hit her as hard.
Mm-hmm.
But being a parent, you don't want anything to happen to your kid. You want to protect them from everything that could harm them. And I know that she sometimes used to say that she wishes she either was outside with me during that time, or either kept me inside with her, or anything really to stop it. But she was my rock. Like she was there for everything, every
Mm-hmm.
surgery I had. She was my nurse when I came home. She
Mm-hmm.
did like everything. She
Mm-hmm.
like every time I woke up from a surgery, she was right there, right next to me, holding my hand or just
Mm-hmm.
rubbing my head or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And when I would be in the hospital for a while, then I'd have to come home. And I still would have, the bandages and everything. So she had to learn basically to become a nurse out of nowhere
Oh,
and to change all my bandages and everything. And it was, it was rough at times. It was very rough at times because a lot of times changing the bandages were more painful than the
ooh,
surgeries themselves. And she was, she was amazing though. Like the way she would go about it, she would make sure that she'd soak the bandage first to make sure it wouldn't stick, or she'd do it softly, or sometimes you can't do it softly. Sometimes she's got to be like, you
quick
gotta
and
break your
fast.
teeth, you gotta. And she's like, I know you can do this. You've been through worse. You can do this.
Ooh.
But she was amazing though. Like she was constantly supporting me through everything. My my father was another really good figure. He didn't do all the medical stuff my mother did because he was always at work trying to
Mm-hmm.
get help us with everything. But like he supported me with like I guess you could say my mentality. I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Whereas like with a mother, how a mother wants to do everything for their kids. Like they just want to do everything. So like when I was first through the accident, when I was first able, be home to interact or whatever, my mother wanted to do everything for me. She wanted to grab something for me, give it to me, move me here to do this,
Oh,
do
yeah, yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, almost overcompensating.
Right. So my
Mm-hmm.
father was
Mm-hmm.
like, you can't do this. You can't
Mm-hmm.
do this. He's
Uh-huh.
got to learn to adapt to what he has, or he's never going to learn how to use what he has.
Mm-hmm.
So my dad was always encouraging me to just keep going, don't stop. You can do this. You can do this. And like, I don't know. My parents were amazing. They're still like, my father passed away in 2000 in June, but my mother, she's still going. Like she's a CNA now, which I'm sure has to do with everything she had to do
Of
with me.
course.
So
She's got
she's
that
still
natural
working.
bedside manner.
Yeah, she loves to take care of people.
Mm-hmm.
She would give the shirt off her back to anybody,
Mm-hmm.
anybody.
Mm-hmm.
And she doesn't care who it is. She helps people. She reaches out to everyone, and so
So,
yeah.
Chris, here's a question. And I'm pretty certain, I don't know, I can't say that. You may have been asked this question before. But if not, get ready because here it comes.
Okay.
When you really have a benefit. You have a benefit that most of us don't have. And that is the lens in which you get to view the outside world, the way it's moving around. Because, it's almost like people think that you're stared at all the time, but I think, well, I don't think. I know, because I know what I'm feeling. I know what I'm being told. I can hear it. I can feel it.
Mhm.
And I think more so than being stared at all the time is the fact that people go out of their way to make sure you remain invisible.
Mm.
Like, I don't see you, that, right, this sort of
Yeah.
thing. And that stands out glaringly to you.
Mm.
And something tells me that it is within those moments more than any other, when you look out at us doing that, fighting, trying to not see you, is
Mhm.
when you feel the most sorry for us.
Mm.
Do you know what I'm talking about there?
Right. Right.
Right. So, what is that? Explain to everyone what that is. That thing that, you go, why don't they, how come they just can't get it?
Right.
Don't they know it's okay to look?
Mhm.
Don't they know it's okay to ask?
Mhm.
You know, because
Right.
you know your story, you know your journey, you know your purpose.
Mhm.
But if people are going like this to it, I get that. I get a little bit of what that must feel like. So take us
Mhm.
down that path a little bit, if you could.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
All right.
Um. See, trying to think of an exact time so I can give you an example. Okay, so like again, going to a store or whatever, you'll see people who stare, and then there's other people that will literally like going by me. They'll look the opposite way as they're going by me, and then look, forward again after they pass me. And it's almost like I want to be like, really? I saw that. Like, really? Like, you can't hide that. And it's like, it's okay. Like you said, it's okay to ask because I'd rather people ask me so they
Mm-hmm.
can find out than to just assume for themselves. Because
Right.
a lot of times people will think, and I'm not bashing anybody when I say this, but a lot of people think that I served in the military, so they automatically just assume, I was in the
Oh,
army
I
or
never
whatever.
considered that. Okay.
So like they'll just assume that, and then later on somebody will come up to me like, "Oh, thank you for serving" or whatever. And to me, that's like I don't know how to explain it. I don't want people to think that because the vets deserve more than that. You know what I mean? Like I
Wow.
don't want to take I don't want to take I don't know how to word this. I don't want to take all the I'm thinking
Like
of the
you're,
word
you're
right now.
right. The wrong. I get it, Chris. It's like, I didn't earn these scars
Right.
in the manner
Like
that
they
they
did.
they did.
Exactly.
Right.
They deserve more respect than me in that
Right.
aspect. You know what I mean?
Right. And
Like
all the things
I
that they deal with once they get, I get it. I definitely
right,
get
right.
it.
So like a lot of times they just assume that. Whereas, like you said, or either they ignore me, where I like to share my story. I don't mind. It doesn't bother me because it's me. It's who I am. So like, I share it because there's people out there who are going through worse than me. I know there's worse than me. They could
Yes,
be
there is. Right. And they don't have a scar on their body in most
exactly,
cases.
exactly.
But
Some people are just trapped in their mind and they just can't get out of that dark place, or they don't see hope, or they don't see the light or anything.
exactly. And right now, hold that thought. Come on out here, crossing guard, lady of purpose. Right now, if you felt what just happened here, if you felt it, if you know it, if you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. Don't clap your hands. Type amen in the comments, because I don't want you all to go running. Don't go doing a 50-yard sprint, a 50-yard dash past that moment that just took place here. You may never hear it and feel it like that again in your life. Because I'm going to tell you something, Chris. This is what I want you to take away from our experience here today. I knew that you were going to just be throwing little gold nuggets out of your basket of purpose throughout this entire interview. But I want people to understand that the reason you are living this journey is for those moments.
Exactly.
Just to throw something out there that they can only hear from a mouth like yours.
Mm-hmm.
You are a human scrubbing bubble, just like we all are. You had to do what you had to do so somebody else wouldn't have to.
Exactly.
Same with each of our stories. So, you know, I just had to, okay, cross the guard lady, you can go on back and sit down on the sidelines. So, beautiful, beautiful. Chris, let me ask you this now. Here's a little unorthodox thing, because we just went through it last week. When did you get okay? Let me ask you that. Were you ever worried about taking your kids trick-or-treating?
Yes.
Okay. I bet you were like, dang, how he know all these good questions? Because I'm not making them up. I'm being told what to ask you. Because these are all learning experiences, intersections of opportunity. And so we are here on purpose. And we're going to get all the way through this interview with purpose. That's how it's getting ready to go down. That's how it's been going down. So talk about that. Because a lot of people, I mean, I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
But you don't have to, because you've lived it. So take us down that road.
Right.
Please.
So Halloween, trick-or-treating and all that is like, I love doing all that stuff, but it is kind of an emotional time for me, kind of, because I kind of laugh about it. It's not really good to laugh about, but when I go into like a Halloween store or something with my kids, people automatically think that I'm one of the people that work there and I'm dressed up or something, or I got makeup on.
Wow.
And they'll either get scared or sometimes it's cool. Some people will come up to me and be like, "Oh, that looks awesome," and I'm like,
God, it
"Yeah, you
looks
want to
so
hear?"
real.
Yeah,
Right.
and I'm like, "Yeah, you want to hear how? You want to
That's
hear
some shit
how
I
I
would
did this?"
say. I would just keep
Yeah,
it real. I would be
yeah,
like, dude. Right. Right.
exactly,
Go on. Oh,
exactly.
Lord.
So like, I was sometimes scared that like my kids would feel uncomfortable with it because they would think that all these people were scared of my dad or all these people were thinking my dad's dressed up when he's not, and they
Yeah.
wouldn't want to do it.
Yeah.
But they, again, it doesn't faze them. Like they don't even see the way I look. I don't even know how they see me, but they don't see the scars or anything. So like
Wow.
it's easier now though because I'm so used to it. But the only memory I can think of that still kind of bothers me today is when I was a teenager. We were going to a grocery store, and I don't know if you remember. Sometimes when you go to the bakery, they would give you cookies. So like I'd go to the bakery to get these cookies, and I remember it was like near Halloween, and I went to grab for a cookie, and the lady was like, "Oh wow, aren't you glad you don't look like that all the time?" And then I backed away, and I was like, "Oh." And I just looked at her, and I was like, "I do though, it's fine," and I just walked away. It was just it stung, but at the same
Wow.
time, it was like, it's something that I don't know. That's the only big thing that has really stuck out in my mind during the Halloween time. And like, and being like, I remember when I was sitting in a Halloween shop and my ex-wife during then, like, we were dating then, and she was trying on costumes and stuff, and I was sitting there waiting. And I don't know. I guess I just like was tired or whatever, so I just sat there really still. And some kids walked up to me, and I was like in a daze or whatever. So they got right up in my face almost. And then I blinked. I was like, "Whoa!" And they screamed and they ran.
Oh, because they
And I was
thought
like,
you were
"Oh,
like
I'm so
something.
sorry." Yeah, I'm like, "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry."
It's kind of fun. Okay.
It
See,
is.
that's awesome. That's great. That's a good one. Because I can see it. I can
Yeah.
see it. Chris, what about? Oh man, I'm now I'm all messed up in the head because I keep looking over at the clock, going, shit. It's getting closer. It's getting closer to the end. It's gone so fast. I do have a couple things circled on here that I want to make sure we touch on before we get to the end of it. And I got good news for you. I'm going to tell you right after we go through these things. So remind me, somebody out. I'm just going to put news in big old letters here so I don't forget. Okay. I saw a video. I think you guys were out at the water and you were like, I'm just here. Guys want to hear me do Chris Thomas's voice? I could do it. I've been practicing. Here you go. Hey, everybody. Just here out at the water. Just hanging out. You know, I love nature. That's all I got for now. I'm working on it though. Watch. I'm gonna have a show in Vegas. You might see me on America's Got Talent, impersonating you. So anyway,
Nice.
right. But you were out there, and it was the most incredible thing. I was just riveted, just roped in, watching the interaction. It got really good for me when the girls went down to the water's edge, and they were, they're out there trying to skip stones and having very little luck with it. They were like just plop, and you were like, no, you have to explain the whole process. And I was like, well, this ought to be interesting because I saw you picked up a rock and you're getting ready to show them how, and I was like, how is he? I can't even do it. It's like whistle. Some people can whistle and some people can't. I got 2 perfectly good lips. Yes, I do. Some might say it looks like 3, but I do have 2 perfectly good lips. Hi, niece. Hi, seminar. But what you did was you picked up, because a lot of people would look at what you're dealing with there. Can you hold those up so everybody can see? Show us your hands. So, right. Now, you picked up the rock, and that stone went plop, 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 right across. And I'm like, get out of here. Right. And it immediately, because I remember how long it took me to learn how to skip stones, and how I had a little technique where I would curl my finger, I'm talking about, across it, and you got to do the little side arm thing. I'm like, how in the hell did he do that? But what it spoke to me right after that was, that's just further proof that we have the capability to do things in ways that people don't know they can be done.
Exactly.
We have that. There are no losses. Losses in our lives are there to wake us up.
Mm-hmm.
There aren't mistakes, only miracles and blessings in the making.
Right.
And when I see undeniable proof, when I saw you skip that stone, Chris Tomlinson, let me tell you, it was the equivalent if God had opened up the skies and said, look at me, and peeked, and I went, whoa, and then the sky closed back up. Like if I saw angels up there floating around and playing harps and stuff just for a second. That's what it felt like to me, because it was undeniable proof of possibility.
Right.
You see, everyone is looking around trying to find something that proves that they are a part of something greater than themselves, when really all they have to do is find that video on your page and watch you skip that stone, and they would never have to ask that question again.
Mm-hmm.
So, having said that, let's go to the thing about the choice of your daughter's names. Why do I have a feeling you had a lot to do with those 2 names?
Yes, I did.
Tell us about that and why it was so important to you. Because a lot of people would think if anybody had a legitimate reason to be angry with God, a lot of people are angry with God because the financing didn't go through on their brand new Cadillac.
Right.
There are literally people walking around angry because I don't have enough money to get my nails done this Friday, and I got a date.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Okay? So take that one. Take that one and run with that.
All right. So my oldest name is Nevaeh, which is heaven spelled backwards.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason why I named her that is because growing up, I was told my whole life that I wouldn't be able to have kids because I had so many different medications and stuff that were done to me. And so I always assumed my whole life, don't think you'll ever be a parent, even though that's what I wanted to be. And so when I was old enough and my wife at that time was pregnant, she had a miscarriage, unfortunately. It was twins. And
Oh.
I blamed myself for that. Like I thought that was my fault. Like I blamed myself hard for that. And come to find out she had a Rh negative blood type. So it attacked the fetuses and killed the fetuses. So knowing that, we were able to, get the treatment and stuff so she could, bear children.
Uh-huh.
And then Nevaeh was born. And the reason why I named her Nevaeh is because, being told my whole life I couldn't have kids, to me, she was a literal gift from the heavens.
Mm.
She was literally like, just like, look, bam, now you got this. Prove to the world that, there's more. That even though doctors and everybody says
Woo!
things, they don't know everything.
Chills. Gotta get my church fan. Keep going.
So that's why Nevaeh has her name as Nevaeh.
Mm-hmm.
And then Trinity, I've always just liked, I like looking at names and like looking at like the real meanings of them and everything. And I wanted my kids to have names that stuck out. I didn't want them to be like another Chris or Michael or Steve or whatever. Just I wanted their names to stick out because, to me, my kids are going to become amazing things because technically they're not supposed to be here.
That's right.
So I wanted their names to stick out. And Trinity, the whole the whole 3-in-1 and all that stuff with Trinity.
Mm-hmm.
And I always felt that there was something, I was going to go through something with Trinity. And I don't know why, but I felt like something, something. So I knew I had to give her a name that meant, strong, like something like 3-in-1. That's a powerful thing. So
Mm-hmm.
I was like, she needed a strong name. And I'm glad I picked it because if it's, she went through some stuff after she was born. And she, like, when she was about 4 months old, she developed bacterial meningitis. And we weren't sure if she was going to live through that. And she was in the hospital for like a week or two. She came out just fine, no issues, no nothing. It was all good. And then when she was about 8 months old, me and my wife at the time, we used to work at a church. I used to do like the soundboards and the electronic stuff. I like tech stuff.
Okay.
So we had a babysitter who was like best friends with us for years and years, went to the church and everything. And they said they would watch the kids for us when we went to the church. So while we were at the church, we were doing our thing, and then we come home, and the babysitter brought out Trinity, and she was very pale. Her eyes were rolled in the back of her head.
Ooh.
She had stuff coming out of her mouth. She had bruises all over her body. And
Bruises.
the babysitter claimed she was laying on her bottle, but we knew no, there's no way laying on a bottle is going to do this. So we rushed her to the hospital. Come to find out, the babysitter beat her almost to death because she was crying. And my youngest had to witness it, and they told her if she said anything, she'd be next. So she had broken ribs, she had a ruptured spleen, she
Oh.
had internal bleeding, everything. And that was a moment that really made me think of my mother because, here's my kid who's about to possibly die. And I remember driving behind the ambulance and just thinking, like, wow, what my mother must have been thinking following me
Mm.
to the hospital. And it made me realize and appreciate my mother more because it was like, this is horrible. This is horrible. My kid, I may not see my kid again. And it was a really traumatic thing because, again, they said that they didn't think she was going to live because she wasn't even a year old yet. And she had so much internal bleeding, so many broken ribs and everything. And it broke my heart because I don't mean to smile, but it was kind of touching because, like, when we got there, I got there a little later because my ex at the time was in the ambulance. They wouldn't let both of us in there. So when I got there later and I couldn't see her. And she came to me and she said she opened her eyes and the first thing she said was "Daddy," and I just immediately started crying. Like, and we weren't allowed to go in there
Mm.
to see her because they were blaming it all on us because they didn't know the
Forgot about
story
all
yet.
that.
And they wound up going and getting the babysitter. They locked him up because he admitted to it all, and they had to interview Nevaeh as well. She wasn't even 3 years old yet, and she had to tell everything that happened. And yeah, she survived, and she had no complications from it. We had to go through a lot of stuff though because I still don't know why they did to this day, but they accused us of neglect, and they took her away from us. And the good thing though is my sister was able to contact them and take the girls so that no one else would take the girls.
Mm, mm,
And then
mm.
we had to go through child care and all that stuff for like I think it was about 7 or 8 months, and then finally they dropped the entire thing. They're like, we realize you guys are loving parents. We're sorry, but it's, I guess part
We
of the law to do stuff
to
like
go
that.
through all that.
Yeah, so I'm glad I picked the name Trinity because she is definitely a tough kid. She's
I knew
very
there was
powerful.
something about it. I knew it. I knew it. Just like you knew when you were being
Yeah.
told to uh, put this hedge of protection, if you will, around your
Mhm.
child. It
Right,
also is very interesting to me how you both have childhood baby traumas that you did
right,
not choose that were chosen
right,
for you. It's
right.
it's very similar, and also a lot of people, I'm sure, because in my mind I heard myself whispering to my common sense, uh, dang, hadn't he already gone through enough? And that's a go-to, Chris, for a lot of us. Um,
Yeah.
but usually it's from our own ego platform. When are
Mhm.
things that are for me? Ah, no, 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 no. And then we see somebody like you, and there's many other examples around us every day. We just
Right,
don't see them because we
right.
choose to look away, look away, look away, Dixieland,
Yeah.
you know. And I am so grateful for this opportunity to
Mhm.
expose a shade of the truth. Pain comes in shades, but all the pain that we all are meant to express and to experience, the shades of pain are what provide colorful stories of overcoming,
Right,
colorful stories
right.
of victory, colorful stories of change. And
Right.
that's where we pick up what you lay down. We take
Mhm.
what you have lived so we don't have to, so that we know that it can, if we need change, ask for it. Go out and
Right,
get it. Make it happen, because you are proof of what can be when everything is stacked up and trying to make us think that it cannot be. Now, you were talking about the twins and how they didn't get here, but then Nevaeh did and she wasn't supposed to. Let me tell you something. That is why when each of us reaches the egg first, we have now been given our first thing that we can mark off of our bucket list. And that is
right.
trying to beat the odds of
Mhm.
anything. You can do and be anything you want in this world once you get here. Why? Because the greatest odds known to man just to be born is one
Right.
in 400 quadrillion. So
Exactly.
once you hit the egg first, you have now beaten the odds. Now, when you take that first breath 9 months later, it's all about creating those odds, setting the bar for the world to
Mhm.
see, to reach up to you, because you are showing them what is possible.
Right.
I am just, you got me preaching up in here. Let me pick my church fan up. You got me preaching up in here, but it's true. This is exactly what it's about. Once you have made it, we have made it, you made it here in your journey. And I want to say this too. I always, when I speak to kids and whatnot, and people that had a lot of childhood trauma, I just brought the phone down. Um, I guess that's the beginning of bringing the house down. So I always say to them, when you have a story that starts very young in your life, just remember, the deeper the pain, the greater the voice.
Right.
The deeper the pain, the greater the voice.
Mhm.
And so, Chris, I am just honored. My news for you was this. Last night I relaunched my evening version of this show, more of an adult version, called
Mhm.
Bathrobe Moments After Dark. And I am only going to put in that spot once a week, the best of the best.
Mhm.
And that's what I was told to do, 2 minutes before I did it. So I am inviting you to come on Bathrobe Moments After Dark at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time on Wednesday, the 20th. Not
Okay.
this coming Wednesday, but the Wednesday after. Can you do that?
I can do that.
Okay, so I want everybody to start marking your calendars now because we've just barely scratched the surface. Because I already know that the promise is being fulfilled each and every day in each and every way where two or more of us come together. It's not that something good should, might, possibly happen. If you show up, you're one. If you stand next to or sit next to one other, that's two. And the promise has already begun to be fulfilled. When
Right.
we come together like this, Chris, I want to thank you for stepping up wherever we were before we came to this world when they were saying, now, who wants to this? Okay, who wants to be the superstar? Who wants to this? Who's going to take the this? Who's going to take the that? I believe we had a choice because we always have. Free will is one of the greatest things available to us. So I can't believe it only began once we got here. I think it had a lot to do with how we got here. And I want to tell you something. The fact that you stood up and you saw this road before you even got here, you forgot it, of course.
Mm.
But you said, send me. I'll take that one. I'll go.
Mm.
It's like being the last kid picked for a team.
Right.
You're looking around and you're like, you still walk over there and give it your all. Anyway,
Right.
Chris, I want you to understand that your message of no matter what life does to make you feel like you've been knocked down, you can get back up anyway. I've heard it. I've heard it loud and clear. The truth is the only thing that will never change on us, and it will not change at all, ever. And the
Right.
fact that you can look your truths in the eye every single moment of every single day, and it's not just because you don't have a choice. Because I know I had this same face and everything, and it wasn't until I transformed my mindset that I realized I had gone 29 years with no profile pictures, no pictures of me. Anytime you saw a picture of me, if anybody in the family had it, I was doing this. And on social media, I had nothing but silhouettes for all those years. And I had shaved my head, brushed my teeth, and shaved my face for 29 years in the shower because I would not look at myself.
Mm.
I didn't like myself. And so I know it's possible to not see ourselves. And I just want to thank you for everything you've done to show us that, look, don't get it twisted. We always have a choice. There are
Right.
always two. The one we make and the one we didn't. And there are only two sponsoring thoughts. Everything we do should be either from a sponsoring thought of love or it's going to fall into the category of a sponsoring thought of fear.
Right.
And you help those of us who have sponsoring thoughts of fear to post eviction notices on right on top of those and say, to the left, bye, Felicia. To the left, you got to go. Your spot, that spot in my garden is for love. It is reserved. And thank you for helping me to put some reservation, some reserve signs on the tables in my world today.
Mm.
I mean that. I am 57 years old, Chris, and I tell people almost daily that I know and I get it that there is most likely more life behind me than in front of me. But I don't care if it's 20 minutes, 20 days, or 20 years. Because of people like you, I know that every one of those moments can be better than the one before. I will never again be as young as I am right now. And so no matter what tomorrow holds for me, I am so grateful that today I'm taking more knowledge, more insight, more chance of understanding this before I leave this world because of your story. Thank you for helping shine a light in a way that no one has ever done for me before. Okay? And I look forward to seeing you on the 20th. I'm going to put that down and we're going to have a good time again at night. And listen, give those girls a big, big hug
I will.
from Bathrobe Moments and from me personally because you got some special ones. I can't wait to see
Right.
what the creator has in store for them.
Yeah.
And get out there, Chris, and keep being the example you are. Thank you to all your friends and family members and supporters and allies who have come today to support you, to show the world what is, not what could be, but what is. And
Right.
if there was one thing you would want people to never, ever, 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 never forget or lose sight of from being here today, Chris, what would it be?
Don't judge a book by its cover because it will surprise you.
Each and every time.
Hmm.
I will see you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I will
Thank
see
you.
you on the flip side, which is the 20th of November. So mark your calendars now, everybody. And I want you to share this out. If all of us shares this out, can you imagine how many people in this world whose lives we can impact for the better from them seeing Jess and hearing Chris's story here today? Hit the share button. Send this out. Put on your posts when you share it. Tell your family and friends to continue to share. If you want to be a part of something, this may be the only thing you get. This may be the biggest thing that you can ever be a part of. And one day when they show your beautiful beam footage and say you had a chance to be a part of history, and you go, but I didn't know. Well, why didn't you tell me? Well, if I'd have known. Well, you do know because I just told you. Hit that share button. Don't ask people, tell them. Tell them to keep pushing this story out there. And watch what happens to your life as a result. Chris, I love you, man. Thank you for agreeing to come out on
Thank
the
you.
20th because I know that everybody's going to be trying to get you on their show now. But I don't care. As long as I got the 20th, I'm a happy camper. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right.
All right,
I
man.
love you and I love your story. Thank you for making me a better version of myself.
Yeah.
Okay?
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
I'll see you soon.
All right, man.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Whew. I told you. Didn't I? Now, I mean that. You guys, push this out there. Push this story. Help each of us to help each of us. What a guy. What a father. What a friend. What an example. He got back up. He continues to get back up. We could all take a lesson. So now I want you to remember to come back tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Central, where my guest will be Anna Calizo. Wait till you hear her story. She's here now. I see you on there. Thank you so much. 8 a.m. Central Standard Time. I'm telling you, come and get changed or be the change for something or someone else. Also, now it's how I close every show every morning. The call to action. Get out there, won't you please, today and every day. And try to love up on the world. Try to love up on the world, but don't forget, in order to do that effectively, start by loving yourself. Don't lose yourself in the process. You can only give what you've already done for yourself. You can give that now to others. I'm Loren Michaels Harris. This has been your Thursday edition of Bathrobe Moments. Mark your calendar. Meet me out every day, Monday through Friday, out front on the front porch. You're going to have to take your shoes off or at a minimum, wipe your feet off. But you're going to come up in here and you're going to leave changed. That's a promise. And it's not from me. God bless you and have a great day.